Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Kyra. I'm currently a brand new mom to a month-old baby. He turned a month on Saturday. So for those of you who are not new, hi. Thank you for still being here and supporting me. I know I haven't been on. I know that well, I did mention in my last video that I was currently in labor and whatever, so I did mention that I might not be making videos for a while, but I did want to make this one just to let you guys know that I am okay. Baby is okay. We're doing great. We are healthy. I know I had a few comments just wondering if everything went well, and this video is going to contribute to that. So I just wanted to quickly share my labor and delivery story. I'm also going to be talking about the events that happened leading to my labor and delivery. I'm going to start on talking about what happened from Wednesday. So he was actually born on Saturday, February 13th, and things started to happen from February 10th. So I'm going to start off talking about Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I went to my doctor's appointment. I asked her if I can get checked and if it's possible to get a sweep. So she checked me, and unfortunately I was only 50% effaced and I was 0 centimeters dilated, so she couldn't do a sweep, and I was very disappointed and sad. So when I was going home from my doctor's appointment, I actually stopped at Walmart and grabbed a whole bunch of ingredients for the midwife's brew. Now, if you don't know what the midwife's brew is, go ahead and check it out on Google. You can look it up, it's everywhere. I'm not telling you to do it. If you are pregnant, consult with your doctor before doing so. I took it because I was just fed up. I was like, you know what, like, I'm getting really impatient. I want to meet my baby and I'm in pain and I just want to get this over with. So I took the midwife's brew. Now, right before the midwife's brew, obviously when you get checked, there is some spotting that can happen, which happened to me, and I was assured that that's completely normal. Now, took the midwife's brew, and 24 hours later, literally nothing happened, nothing at all. So I went for a really long walk that day. So this is now Thursday, and I mean like a long walk. And then I started to feel cramping. It wasn't really contractions, it was more cramping, and I was still spotting. Now, it's still normal to spot 2 days later, or a day later, sorry. So I didn't really think nothing of it. Now on Friday, I walked, and I mean I walked for literally like 3 hours, not even joking, doing stairs. I also had a lot of pineapple juice and a lot of pineapples throughout the week. That's something else that people say that helps, but all these things, I don't know what actually contributed to it. I don't know if anything actually happened or if it was just coincidence. I really don't know. So, and honestly, I'm never gonna know unless I have another child and I just take one thing at a time to see what actually worked. But I'm pretty sure the midwife's brew did not work because it passed 24 hours and it's supposed to put you in labor within the 24 hours. So I'm not too sure. And it also told me that it's supposed to make you go to the washroom, and that never happened either. So I don't know. It's not terrible, but it's not a good drink. I wouldn't drink it on the daily basis, that's for sure. Now on Friday, like I said, I was walking for hours. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, that's when I started feeling more severe cramping, and I couldn't tell if it was contractions or if it was just from the checkup that I had on Wednesday, because it did give me a little bit of cramping, and that, like I said, the spotting, and she said that was normal. So I didn't really think nothing of it, but it kept coming. I would say probably every like 20 to 30 minutes or so, and they weren't very long. They were maybe like 20 to 30 seconds. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what these are. So the day kept going, and then they got stronger and stronger, and then I was like, okay, this is probably contractions, but they're very inconsistent. So I'm still not really going to think nothing of it, but I'm going to make sure that my hospital bag has everything in it just in case. My husband was at work and I was finally on maternity leave, so I had nothing to stress about in that regards. Now, I was also talking to one of my coworkers, and she told me a way to know if they are true contractions or not, to go take a bath, and if they stop because of the hot water, then they are false, then it's false labor. And so if they are still consistent afterwards, or if they still keep coming, then it's probably real labor. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go take a bath. I took a bath and they still kept coming. So I was like, okay, this is probably real, but like it's not that painful, and they still weren't consistent. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm still gonna walk. I won't call my husband and freak out. So I just basically waited it out, ate some food, chilled, and then my husband came home, and by that time, like, it was probably 5 or 6 o'clock, and I was like, all right, they're starting to get pretty painful, they're still not consistent, so I'm gonna call the hospital and let them know what's going on. So I told them, like, they're inconsistent, but they're actually shorter now, like they're probably like 5 to 6 minutes apart, and they last for 45 seconds. So they said that I can come in and they can give me pain medicine, or if I can just wait it out until they're 3 minutes apart at home. Keep in mind that my hospital is 25 minutes away. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait it out a little longer. And then by 7 o'clock, I was like, okay, it's time to go, because 25 minutes and they got painful really quickly. So I was like, I don't know if things are progressing or what's going on. So we packed everything up, drove to the hospital, and then because of COVID, they didn't let my husband in, and keep that in mind again, because something happened later on with this situation. I was in there all by myself until I was admitted. They checked me. They said that I was 90% of phase and I was 1 centimeter dilated. Now, I was like, are you kidding me? They're gonna send me home. I'm freaking out. But as soon as I sat on the bed, and when she checked, there was fluid, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna test this to see if this is your water. And I was like, okay, because if this isn't, I know I'm going home and it's going to be a shit show, because it hurts. Now, she checked, she came back, and she told me that it was confirmed that my water was breaking. She asked me, when did this happen? I told her literally probably right now, because I didn't notice anything happening before then. So she said, okay, well, we're gonna have to admit you anyways, because your water is breaking and we can't go past 24 hours because it could potentially cause an infection, and we would have to induce you before then, so you're eventually going to get admitted. But right now, everything is booked up. There's no more rooms available, so they put me in a room to see if I would dilate more on my own. And this room was not luxury, let me tell you. It was a leather couch, a small tiny room, no bed, no nothing. They gave me a pillow and a sheet, and they said, wait here for 4 hours. We'll come back to the desk and we will check you again in 4 hours. No bed, no nothing, and no checkups at all. I had to go walk over there for them to check me. So I was like, okay. And I asked them, I said, okay, well, because this is a room that has a door and it closes, can my husband come in? And they said, no, you have to do this on your own. So I was like, so my husband was literally waiting outside to see if I was gonna get admitted or not. So I told him, no, you have to go home. Literally, I'm staying in this room for 4 hours. I don't want you to stay out there for forever for no reason. So he went back home. I stayed there in pain by myself, my first child. Like, I was just like, man, this is already starting to go bad. Now, the 4 hours passed. I went back to the desk. I said, hey, can you check me again, see if I'm progressing or whatever? And they checked and I was the same, but my pain level of the contractions were going high, like way high. Like I was in so much pain, but the contractions weren't doing anything for me, like nothing at all. So I was getting really frustrated with my body. I was like, why am I not progressing? Why isn't this happening? I went to go get checked again to see if anything happened. Like I said, still at 1 centimeters, 90% of phase, nothing was happening, but my contractions were getting so painful. So what they did, I don't know what kind of medicine it was, but they gave me a shot in my thigh, which kind of burned a little, but it wasn't too bad, and it helped a little bit. Now they said, go back in that room, wait another 4 hours, we'll check you again. Now at this point, like I was getting really fed up. Like I'm in a small, tiny room with a leather couch with nothing else. Like I was just like, and no family, nobody, my husband still couldn't come with me. Now, while I was getting checked the second time, she said I had 2 options. I can either go home and wait it out and come back in the morning, because either way I needed to get this baby out because my water was breaking. So they said, we can induce you in the morning, you can come in and we can get it going, or we can induce you right now as soon as we have a room available for you. And I said, you know what, just induce me right now, because I am not gonna go back home in pain when I can just get this over with now. So I waited it out again for 4 more hours, and nothing was happening in that room. So finally, now it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, they said that they will admit me and start the Pitocin, or whatever it's called, to start the induction, and my husband can finally come. So I called my husband, I said, hey, you can come, grab everything else that you need, because once you're in here, you can't come out and drive off. You have to stay on their facility grounds, whatever. So he finally comes and they start the Pitocin. Great, things are going, and I'm here thinking like, okay, I still got this. I don't want the epidural right away. I'm gonna eat first. Well, that changed really quickly when they started the machine and the medicine was coming. I was like, oh hell no, I'm not eating. I need that epidural. And I was crying. Like the pain was so bad, it made me fall to my knees. Like I'm not even joking. Like I tried to go to the washroom, couldn't even get there. Like it was so bad. I thought period cramps were really bad. I am never gonna complain about those ever again, I swear. So they started Pitocin. I made it to I think an 8, they said, and then I finally got the epidural, because honey, it hurt really bad. At that point, my husband was there. He was holding me. While I was getting the epidural. It wasn't really that bad. It was just like really awkward and weird, especially when my contractions were coming, and trying to stay still is a little bit harder than it looks. Anyways, now the time is going by. It's probably like 11 or 12 o'clock, and they're realizing that my contractions are irregular still, and it was like contraction, stop, contraction, stop. And while it was doing that, it was actually slowing the baby's heart rate down, and they're realizing that the baby is probably sunny side up, which means the baby's head is facing up when it's supposed to be facing down. So it was kind of restricting his the air, and I was starting to panic, because now that was happening, it was also giving me a fever. And because of COVID, they were saying, if your fever doesn't go down after we give you Tylenol, we're gonna have to treat you as a COVID patient, and when you give birth, you're gonna have to be separated from your child, because we don't want any risk of giving it to your baby. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have COVID. I know that for a fact. They know that I don't have COVID. They know that, like, but it's standard procedure. So I was getting really mad and fed up, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is really happening. So anyways, I was like, all right, well, hope for the best for the Tylenol to work. Now, Tylenol eventually did work. My fever did go down, but the baby's heart rate was still fluctuating quite a bit, was dropping very low. I couldn't see the screen, so I couldn't tell you, but the nurses and doctors kept coming in and out to make sure that everything was okay, making sure the monitors were stuck on my stomach correctly and that the readings were correct. Now, the readings were correct, and they were starting to panic. Now they said, we need to discuss some options, because if this keeps on going, we're gonna have to give you a C-section, because the baby is going to go into stress and all sorts of whatever. Now I was at 7 centimeters, and they were able to check and make sure that the cord wasn't around his neck, because they said maybe that's also a reason why it's happening. So they checked, they said it didn't seem like it was. So I was like, okay. Now they were still monitoring, it was still fluctuating, but not as bad. So they said, okay, well, we're gonna continue. You're basically at 10 centimeters. You're basically almost ready to push. So we're just gonna wait it out and see what happens. So I waited it out. At this point, like, I was feeling nothing at all because I had the epidural. I was able to sleep. I was able to relax and calm down before the time that I needed to push. They did that, called the doctor in, got him to check. They said, yep, you're at 10 centimeters. We're gonna push. I was able to I pushed this baby out in 30 minutes, which is pretty good. They said that's actually really good considering it's your first baby. Usually it takes somebody to, usually it takes someone from 1 to 2 hours to push. So apparently I did really good. And the coaching was pretty well, their coaching was pretty good too, in terms of how to push, when to push. Because I only got a 1st degree tear, which is pretty good. Things were going great. You know, the normal, okay, Kyra, you need to push 1, 2, up to 10. And it was calm, relaxed, like, okay, push, push, push. And the moment I knew something went wrong, or something was wrong, was when their face, you can tell there was fear in the doctor's face as well as the nurses' faces. And their tone of voice quickly changed. So when his head came out, the cord was wrapped around his neck and his shoulder was stuck in my pelvis, and this is what they called shoulder dystocia. You can Google it. Like I said, his shoulder was stuck in my pelvis, but in the meanwhile, the cord was suffocating him. So I couldn't push him out and he was suffocating. And their tone of voice quickly changed. Like I said, they said, Kyra, you have to get this baby out. You have to push, you have to do something and get him out as fast as possible. And they were panicking. There was nurses running around all over the place. I started to freak out because I was like, okay, something is so wrong. Like, I need to get him out. And I was pushing so freaking hard, you don't even understand. Like, I didn't know what was going on, but I knew I had to push, and I was trying and nothing was working. Like, this boy was not coming out, and I was like starting to panic and freak out. And things happened so fast at this point. They were doing some type of procedure to try to help him get out because, like I said, he was suffocating, he wasn't breathing. They tilted the bed back to where my head was actually like this and the bed was here and my butt was up here. And I don't know what they did, but they were eventually able to get him out. I don't know if it was type of like manual procedure that they called. I don't know. But anyways, they pulled him out and I looked at him and he was not breathing. He was gray, floppy gray baby. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was traumatizing, and I was freaking the heck out. Now, while this was happening, the doctor was on the pager thing, whatever. They're like, call the NICU team, I need doctors in here. And I was freaking out. I was crying. I was like screaming, crying. Like, it wasn't like throughout the whole like pushing situation, I wasn't screaming, I was calm. But at this point, when it was over, I was screaming and crying, and I was like, is my baby okay? Where is he? Why is he not crying? And I was devastated. And my husband was there. Like, it was just traumatic and traumatizing. And seeing your baby gray and floppy, and you know, you were expecting, you know, before this happened, they asked if I wanted to do skin to skin right away and if my husband wanted to cut the cord, and we said yes. And there was no time for that. The doctor just cut the cord, brought him to the NICU team, and the NICU team was great. Like, I was so thankful for them. They came in a heartbeat. Like, they said call the NICU team, and they were there in the matter of like 10 seconds with like the oxygen mask and everything. And I saw them trying to revive my son, and that is the most traumatizing thing I can tell you. I'm getting emotional because it is just, I don't I don't want to remember this time because it was just really traumatic. And so bad. Sorry. So by that time, I told my husband, go check up on him, go see him. There was 10 doctors and nurses that showed up from the NICU. And probably, I want to say after a good 50 seconds to a minute, that's when I heard him cry. And it was the biggest relief, like, cried tears of joy at that point when I first saw him. And when I saw that he was crying and heard him. And they brought him to me and I said, is he going to be okay? Because his shoulder got stuck. They wanted to make sure nothing was dislocated. Everything was okay. Everything was okay with me except for a very bruised pelvis, just because the way that they manually had to take him out. It still kind of hurts to this day, but they said that it'll eventually go away. It's normal. It's not like a week type of healing. It's more like a couple months. But I'm just happy that my baby is healthy. I'm healthy. And now everything is okay. Now he is a month old and he has the greatest personality ever. And he's super cute. And we love him so much. And we're so glad that he's in our lives. And I couldn't imagine my life without him. It's so great to be a mom. And it's almost like that is my purpose in life. Like before him, I was kind of lost, not knowing what my purpose was. And now that I have him, it's kind of like, okay, I'm meant to be a mom. And I absolutely love it, and I would not have it any other way. This was my labor and delivery story. It's different when I'm trying to share the story as to if you were actually there. Things happened very, very fast. It was very, very scary. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for still subscribing and following my journey. So we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.